Crowds gathered in the silence of the mall, a billion candles flickering against the stone. They didn't weep for a crown or gilded hall, but for a face they felt they'd always known. The floor of shops ran dry by early afternoon, as the city wrapped itself in velvet black. A heady sense that she had gone too soon, leaving footprints that the tide won't take back. Now the ink flows heavy in the library aisle, shelves bending under the weight of her name. 1,000 documentaries trace those fleeting smiles, trying to capture lightning inside a frame. 2 decades passed like a long winter break since the tunnel took the light from the air. But time is a liar when it speaks of death, for the imprint of her hands is everywhere. She stepped across the line that they had drawn and turned the ancient gears toward the sun. A new kind of majesty began to dawn when the walls fell down one by one. She didn't need the scepter or the throne to reach the places where the shadows grow. A legacy not built of gold cut stone, but in the seed she chose to sow. The palace gates fell tall and far away until she brought the world inside the arch. She stripped the starch from a formal display and dropped the heavy burden of the guard. Now the lineage breeds a different breeze, more human than the portraits on the wall. She stripped the starch from a formal display and dropped the heavy burden of the guard. Now the lineage breeds a different breeze, more human than the portraits on the wall. She found the strength to bring them to their knees by showing them the grace within a fall. She awoke the concrete miles beneath the bridge, where the forgotten slept on cardboard floors. She stood upon the windswept rocky ridge and opened up the heavy bolted doors. The shadows flicked and caught her in the glare while she sat beside the lonely and the pain, using every flicker of the camera's flare to wash away the sparks where neglect had stained. She stepped across the line that they had drawn and turned the ancient gears toward the sun. A new height of majesty began to dawn when the walls fell down one by one. She didn't need the scepter nor the song. She reached the places where the shadows go. A legacy not built of cold cut stone, but in the deed she chose to sow. She spoke her truth when silence was the rule, a brave heart beating in a quiet room, refusing to be just a polished tool or a silent flower destined for the gloom. The mindset of the million shifted gears because she wasn't frightened of the lies. You traded in her safety and her fears to make the heavy world feel somewhat bright. She stepped across the line that they had drawn and turned the ancient gears toward the sun. A new kind of majesty began to dawn. Let the wall burn down one by one. She didn't need the scepter or the throne to reach the places where the shadows go. A legacy not built of cold cut stone, but in the seed she chose to sow. She stepped across the line that they had drawn and turned the ancient gears toward the sun. A new kind of majesty began to dawn. Let the wall burn down one by one. She didn't need the scepter or the throne to reach the places where the shadows go. A legacy not built of cold cut stone, but in the seed she chose to sow.